Good morning, everyone. This is David Kley of the Hexxen Media Group and Orange Design here today. Back with another podcast, believe it or not. It's been quite a while since I've done one of these. Things at the office have definitely been very busy. And I wanted to take a moment today to make a video that talks about the differences in lawyer marketing services and how those are different from other industries. A lot of people may not be aware that we work with a lot of law firms, some startups, some medium, some very large, some local, some national. And I wanted to share some things just to talk about what a law firm should expect or what an agency should expect going into, if they're working with law firms or looking to get into that market, but really touch on some things that law firms are struggling with when it comes to marketing. So this is going to be our standard format list where I just go through and I talk about some of these different factors. So go ahead and sit back, have a coffee. I'm not sure when you're listening to this, maybe have something a little stronger if it's later in the day, and let's go ahead and get started. So the first step is determining what is the right type of marketing for your firm. In order to do that, I wanted to separate out into two separate types of marketing. So you have your traditional marketing and your digital marketing. So your traditional marketing is going to focus on generally offline activities such as billboards, direct mail, radio, TV ads, whereas digital marketing is going to be more website driven or digital ad driven, SEO, email marketing, and social media, generally speaking, anything that you see online. Most law firms have to incorporate both digital and traditional marketing into their marketing strategy. So, for example, a personal injury law firm might employ a variety of digital strategies like paid and organic social media, but also use radio, billboard, and bus wraps. A question that needs to be asked is, how do people currently find you? How are they signing up for your services? And then how do you want to change that? So how do you want them to find you both in the near and distant future? So it may be that in your area, that digital marketing is going to be key, especially if you're going to cover a large amount of areas, but that doesn't mean you should leave out the traditional marketing. So billboards, radio, TV ads, etc. Another thing that could be included in the digital marketing is also YouTube. A lot of people underutilize YouTube and they don't realize that, YouTube is owned by Google. Google tends to favor its own things first in search. Obviously, there's already a video tab, when you go to Google search where you can search for just videos. So it's definitely an underutilized resource and something that a lot of these law firms need to take into consideration. So that talks a little bit about what's determining right for your firm. Try to get a really good understanding of how are people currently finding you and how do you want them to find you. If you're not sure about that, you can reach out to an agency like us. We can get access to your analytics. We can get access to your webmaster tools. Or, if you already have some type of tracking metric software in place, we can obviously look into that. We're familiar with a lot of those as well. So we can help you understand how people are finding you and then put you on the best type of marketing plan that addresses how you want them to find you. A second thing that I wanted to discuss is when working with law firms, you are working with them as a partner. You're not just their marketer. I mean, some people would say, oh, all I do is just, do things. I put things in place when they send them to me. But that's not really the best way to work with a law firm. When you're working with a high budget firm, I can't stress this enough. You really need to listen to their feedback. As a marketer, we're always able to take a look at the metrics. We're able to look and see, how leads are coming along, how keywords are ranking. We can look at the performance of ads and do your due diligence to see if they're actually signing up cases versus just generating leads. Take a listen to what they want to try and stop worrying about always being right. It's going to require setting aside your ego and using active listening versus just passive listening. So let's go into number 3, which is competition. So nothing about a law firm marketing campaign is easy. It's going to take a lot of time, it's going to take a lot of resources, and often budget to obtain the desired results. A lot of this is going to be due to the increased amount of spend that's involved in a legal marketing campaign and the large blocks of agency time that are going to be required to obtain the desired result. What most people tend to overlook when they are engaging in a legal marketing campaign is that a lot of these firms are not going to be doing their own marketing efforts. It's not going to be law firm versus law firm. It's going to be agency versus agency. So when you're starting a lot of your audit processes, take a look at it from that angle. Try to see what the agency is doing, how they're going about it during your first initial marketing audit and SEO audit to understand the strategy that's being put in place for the current high-ranking firms. You'll need to understand what is the actual keyword difficulty for the desired terms. Who are the already established law firms and why are they so successful in their efforts? What content strategies are they using? What backlinking strategies are they using? And there's a ton of different softwares that are available to find that out. And we subscribe to many of them, having to do this day in and day out. Another thing that needs to be considered is when you're working with one of these firms, there's going to be some level of trust issues. I know that sounds like a funny relationship thing, but many of these firms have already been involved with marketing companies in the past. And given the fact that they're now looking to hire your agency or go somewhere else, they're not having a good experience, right? So they're going to have some level of trust issues. You're going to have to come in and clean up, a ton of outdated stuff, irrelevant stuff, black hat issues, potentially bad content marketing strategies. When a law firm's looking to hire an agency, there's going to be a lot of different campaigns that aren't coming from a single source that are needed to make that happen. So make sure the agency has reasonable experience in all the Google, social, and marketing things. You're going to require a mixture of organic SEO, search engine marketing such as AdWords or local service ads, social media marketing such as Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, so on and so forth. Setting up either internally managed versus externally managed chat services, lead tracking, phone tracking, all of it. You're going to have to be well versed in all the marketing channels so that you can exploit them to their fullest and most effective capacity. It's not going to be just, this is our channel, this is what we've discovered that works. That's never been our experience here, and I've never seen a law firm that was able to solely rely on one specific marketing channel for their incoming leads. So that's something to keep in mind. Another factor that goes into law firm marketing is the expected amounts of communication. So a lot of people will counter and say that, how is that any different from any other industry? Well, communication should be expected for any reasonable amount of spend. That's true. But communication with law firm clients is especially key. Law firm marketing clients often pay a lot for marketing services since the competition and keyword difficulty is so high, and they want to be followed up with often, and an agency needs to be ready to commit large amounts of time and resources. Also, you have to be ready to admit and be transparent when a campaign isn't working early on and provide that feedback to the client. Don't make the mistake of doing something for months on end and then coming to the client when they ask and say, hey, this isn't something that's working. You need to be upfront. You need to be completely transparent and timely with those type of responses. It's also important to note that every campaign is not going to be a home run. Show them what worked, show them what didn't, and have alternative solutions that are ready to present. You don't want to say, well, this didn't work and I don't know what to do. You always need to be prepared. You should be, as the marketer, aware of anything that's not working long before the client is aware of it, so that you can present those findings and have a solution or an alternative way to go about using that marketing channel or a strategy that you're working with. A big thing with law firm marketing is the expectation, right? Law firms and their partner level attorneys, they're going to have high budgets and high expectations for those budgets. If you were spending $10,000 on a car versus $200,000 on a car, you're going to have significant differences in the expectation of what you're getting for that money. Always lay everything out as transparent as possible and be sure to follow up often. Something that might not be as specific to law firms, but it's definitely worth mentioning here, is changing direction on the fly. So law firms have to be prepared to react to change. Well, law firms and the agencies have to be prepared to react to changes more often than other businesses due to class action cases, changes in keyword usage and volume, changes in competitor rankings, and also high spend is pretty common for like corporate or e-commerce sites, but it's not as common for service-based or often local businesses. You're going to see a lot of agencies putting forth quite a bit of effort to make sure that their clients are successful, which can lead to the ranking changes that I mentioned. You're also going to have things pop up such as the class action changes. So, somebody new has done something wrong and they knew about it and they hid it or whatever. You're going to need to be able to not only maintain your existing marketing strategy, but also create new ones very quickly so that your clients can be one of the first ones out of the gate, and also ranking very high out of the gate anytime something new like that comes up. The last thing that I wanted to cover regarding legal or law firm marketing is the tracking and the proving of ROI, or return on investment. This is something that is extremely important given the expectations, the keyword difficulty, the amount of spending and effort that goes into one of these levels of campaigns. Make sure that everything that you're doing has a tracking credential added to it. So that can include tracking numbers, referring URLs, local search ranking, monitoring backlinks from high domain authority and high page authority sources, making sure that you can show that your content marketing efforts are working in regards to rankings. And also, if you're doing something on social media, make sure that you have everything properly to show, hey, if something came into the firm, this is where it came from. I really can't put a big enough emphasis on that because, these law firms are going to be extremely busy, right? They're not just sitting there twiddling thumbs. I've been involved in many legal campaigns, and if you look in a lawyer's inbox, I mean, they're massive. They're blowing up all day long. So they're not going to have the time to sit there and sift through a ton of different data. They're going to see at a glance how quickly something is working or what's not working, and want to understand what your approach is to correct any problems that exist. So making sure that you have the full amount of tracking and ROI reporting sources, that's going to be key. And also organizing that data is going to be key to making sure that they understand that their money is being well spent. To sum it up, the spend, the expectation, the competition, all those things are going to come into play with the lawyer marketing industry. While it's difficult, it's also possible. I don't want to give anybody false hopes. I know a lot of clients that we've helped, firms from startups to established firms to nationally established firms to difficult major cities where there are already established parties that we were up against. And we've always been able to achieve success for them. But there's a lot of things that go into play, all of which I've mentioned here, and some of the things I can't mention here based upon our proprietary strategies. So hopefully someone found this information useful. If you did, we'd appreciate if you like and subscribe to our channel. We do try to put out these videos fairly common. I know it's been a little bit for this most recent one here. Things have been very busy internally at the office. We do plan on expanding these videos greatly. We're also going to be expanding to where we have multiple members of the team on these podcasts, and we talk about major marketing trends or reporting on recent events. I know we have a couple cool ones that are coming up in the next month, so keep an eye out for that. Again, my name is David Kley of Hexxen Media Group and Orange Design. Please like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you on the next one.